Welcome back. In our last video, we set up code to specify what pickup to spawn, a random location for that pickup to spawn, and also a random delay for between each spawn. Now we're going to work with the tick function to actually call that spawn pickup function we made in the last video. So we need to switch back to our header file for spawn volume. And we're going to override tick. This is actually pretty similar to when we overrode the tick function in our character to change its movement speed. And again, I mentioned in our header file where you have a public section and a private section. So this is going to go above the private header. And virtual void tick to seconds and override. And that's just, again, going to hook into that basic tick functionality that actors have. And now under private, we're going to have a spawn time. So spawn time is actually the timer that will keep track of whether or not it's time to spawn the pickup yet or not. And that's just going to be a float, just like spawn delay is a little bit above there. So our header is all set to go. We just added, like I said, the tick and the spawn timer. Now in our spawn volume source code, there's a couple things we're going to need to change. In the class constructor, one thing we need to set is whether or not the spawn volume can tick. So when we worked with the tick function in character, we didn't have to do this step because by default, characters can tick. However, our spawn volume can't tick by default, and so if you don't have this line, no matter what other functionality you have ready to go in your tick function, it's never going to be called because this be can ever tick boolean won't be true. So again, just set primary actor tick dot be can ever tick to true, and you'll be set to go. Your tick functionality will be called. So we'll scroll down to the bottom of our source file and start overriding the tick function. So we'll put in the stub of our function. Seconds. And start adding in our functionality. So we always want to be adding this delta seconds, which comes out of tick, to our spawn time. So always add delta time to our spawn time. We're always counting up. And the reason we do this is because if the game hitches for a long time, we don't want to use spawn iterations that should have occurred during the pause. So now we see if we should spawn or not. Bool, we should spawn. And basically, we should spawn if the spawn time is greater than the spawn delay. And if we should spawn, so if B should spawn is true, then this is where we will call our spawn pickup function. Then we will deduct our spawn delay. So basically, we accumulated more time than our delay really is. We'll just keep a little bit of that remainder time so that we're not losing any time that's been accumulated during our ticking. So deduct spawn delay from accumulated time value. So again, if we've accumulated 5.5 seconds of time, we've hit our spawn delay is the maximum of 4.5, we'll keep 1 second there. And then we'll get a new spawn delay using our get random spawn delay function that we set up in the last video. So at this point, we actually will be able to have the spawn pickup function be called. So let's compile this and open in the editor and that way we can add a spawn volume actor to our level and start setting some of the variables on it. Now, if you remember, I set this to development editor for our build configuration before we started the videos with the blueprints and the materials, but I'm going to switch it back to debug game editor. So in case I need to debug this code I've just written, I'll be able to do that. So build configuration back to debug game editor, right click here on your project and debug start new instance, and it will build, and we'll be able to load it in the editor and hopefully place a new spawn volume actor. So we're just going to wait for the compile. Shouldn't take very long because we've just added a couple functions in here. Okay, so we're loading up in the editor now. The compile succeeded, and we can start to add our spawn volume actor. So let's zoom out above our level just a little bit so I can sort of see where to place my spawn volume. And here in the placement modes, you can see all classes, and we'll go ahead and search for spawn volume. Oh, there it is. And we'll drag one of those into the world, sort of place it here in the center, and then we can start manipulating it. So we'll go ahead and put it to the top view real quick so I can place it. It's basically so it extends over the entire level. We want batteries to be able to fall pretty much anywhere over our map. And let's see, just a little bit of placement there. Shift it down so nothing will fall outside the world. And also so nothing will fall on the walls where I can't reach it with my character. And then let's just take a quick look from the side if it's high up enough for what I want. I'll make it a little bit taller, just so some variation in the height at which these can spawn. And switch back to perspective view so we can see how that works. Now, if you remember, we didn't actually set what to spawn in the last, in the code. So if we select our spawn volume, we can search in here for what to spawn. And this is currently none. So if we go in here, we can select our battery pickup. And if we hit play, we should actually get, well, this is the battery from our first test spawn, but we're starting to get our other batteries spawning within the world. So our spawn pickup, our spawn volume is working, spawning all of our batteries as we go. And in the next video, we'll set up the game mode to basically start decreasing our character's power and draining it so that he actually has a need to collect these batteries, and it's not just because I really like seeing electricity shooting throughout the level. So thanks for watching.